Hey everybody, welcome back to Lessons Learned, the podcast we aim to turn our experiences into your wisdom. I'm Randy, here today with Chris, Jared, Joe, and Talon, and today we're going to be getting into finances a little bit. Chris, why don't you take us into that?
Hey, thanks a lot. They call me Ishmael. So today we are talking about how to start setting yourself up financially at a younger age, say 18, right? So you're finally, in air quotes, adult. Like I said, adult sounds smarter than adult.
Nah.
Oh my God.
Now you said adult.
Well,
You explaining it doesn't make you sound smart.
No, I'm smart though. No,
You big dumb.
Starting out at 18, like what are tips you can do to set yourself up for the future, whether it be, credit cards, budgeting, kind of giving a spoiler alert here, like mutual funds, just little stuff. And each of us has a talking point we're going to bring up. And we all have personal experience doing this, whether, we started a little later on in life or we did start at 18 like some of us. So we're going to get into that. So Talon, you're kind of the financial whiz of the group. And I think we all lean on you for some financial advice. So why don't you start off a little bit?
Yeah, so I think in our education here in the United States, we don't really learn about finances very well. I was lucky for myself because I actually had a math class at my high school that kind of taught me some basics to finances and everything.
Math did?
Yeah, math.
Interesting.
It
Math
was
is
an actual
hard.
math class dedicated to like daily life, like mathematics and stuff like that.
That was in
That's
Denver?
cool. Huh?
That was in Denver?
Yeah.
Dude, we should all move to Denver.
Yeah,
That's
at my
awesome.
high school, it was great. Just real fast, it taught me like how compound interest works, how like voting works, how does like some taxes and like kind of like retirement accounts and stuff like that. So it was a cool class. So I got lucky there. Most people don't get that chance to learn stuff like that from an actual school.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chris already kind of gave it away, but right now we'll kind of talk about some credit cards and credit score and everything like that, and how borrowing money can actually be helpful to you depending on how you use it to your advantage. Real quick, do you guys know what your credit score is, or ballpark, like right off the bat?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I do.
Yeah, and I'm embarrassed.
You're embarrassed?
You're embarrassed?
I know
I
about
am.
mine.
I'm
Really?
working on it, man.
You know about, okay, that's better than most people. I feel like most people probably have no idea what their credit
Yeah,
score
I mean,
is.
I checked a couple months ago, so I figure it's fluctuated a little bit.
Yeah, it probably hasn't changed all that
I
much.
check about once a month since it's free. It doesn't it's not the most accurate credit score because obviously the ones that are very accurate you either pay for or like it takes a little bit, but
Yeah.
I
I
have my
normally look at
Discover card and it gives it for free. Like all my credit cards give it for free. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah, so the
FICO.
first recommendation for someone who's young, like 18 or something like that, and wanting to learn about these things, just track your credit. There's free programs out there, creditkarma.com. That one's a great one. It tracks, I think it's TransUnion and Equifax. And so that's two bureaus right there. And then I personally use mint.com as well. And
That's what I use.
yeah, and that we can talk about that app a little bit later too for a couple other topics.
Yeah.
But both of them, literally, you just pull it up and you can see your credit score right there. And some people might think that credit isn't that important, but I mean, if you don't have a good credit score and you go and try and apply for a loan, whether it be for a house, a car, or something like that, if your credit score isn't good, you're going to be paying more money in interest because you're a higher risk borrower to that company. So if you go and try and apply for a mortgage, you could, if you have a great credit score, this is just an example, you can get like a 2.5% interest rate or something. If you have a bad credit score, that could be like up to 4%. And like you might not even get approved if you don't have a good credit score. So that means you can't get a house. If this isn't a priority for you, you can't get a house if you do not have a good credit score. And the same thing with even just car loans. If you don't have a good credit score, you can't get a loan. And even if it's not good, you're going to have a very bad interest rate. You're going to be paying a lot more money.
yeah, I know. I got lucky. I think my mom co-signed for me, which is always an option, but still, it's kind of risky. Now whoever is co-signing, you're putting them at risk too. Like if you don't make a payment, that affects their credit score as well.
Yeah.
So it's not like the best solution. However, it's something to start. Like say you have someone that's willing to help, that can also help just jumpstart your credit a little bit.
If it's two people that trust each other and trust each other financially, that's a great thing that you can do.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to build credit if you don't already have credit. But the best way to do it is something like co-signing. Because even though someone else is paying for a loan, for example, you are still getting that on your credit score. Another great option is being an authorized user. So like for me, I know when I was young, my dad just made me an authorized user on his credit card. That gets reported to the credit bureaus exactly the same way as if it was your own credit card. And even if like your parent like doesn't trust you with a credit card, they can literally apply you for that authorized user and just hide that thing in a drawer. But you get all that credit history on that account.
They don't have to give you the card number or anything, do they?
Nope, they don't have to. They can
So
literally.
their spending is building your credit.
Exactly.
I didn't even
Ain't
know
that
that.
nice?
I didn't know about that. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, you can be 8, like, because you can become an authorized user at like the age of like 15 or something.
Wow.
Pretty early on. So you can be 18 and you could already have a great credit score if your parent just does that for you.
That's
awesome.
sick.
Yeah, so that's a great option. Even when you're 18, you can still ask anyone, like even a friend. Just make sure that if you are the one that's being like who's giving an authorized user account to someone, make sure you trust them. If you don't trust them, don't let them have the card. Don't let them, or just don't do it to begin with.
Yeah.
But so I guess it kind of leans into like, what do you guys know? Like, I mean, does everyone here know like what matters in credit? Like what builds credit?
Yeah.
I do.
So longevity, right? So like how long you've had us cards or credit, how many accounts you have,
Late payments.
That's a
late
huge one.
payments.
That's the biggest one.
Yes.
I can't remember there's 2 more, right? There's
Yeah.
5
So you guys already kind of said it. So you get the credit age. That's what Chris said. You get the derogatory marks. So that would be if any late payments or if you just don't pay at all. Derogatory marks. That's the biggest one. If you miss a payment, even just like, so that no matter what, at least always make the minimum payment no matter what, because if you miss a payment, your credit score is going to plummet almost instantly, and it's going to take a long time for that to come back. And then you always have payment history. So on-time payments, you always, like I said, once again, always want to have on-time payments. You want that to be at 100%. And then you have credit card usage. So that goes based off of like your total credit that you have. So let's say you have a $5,000 limit on like one credit card. You want to keep that below, normally it's like below 30% of that. So whatever it might be, just keep it below 30% of your total credit use, like credit that you have over all of your accounts.
So say you have $100 credit limit, you just want to keep it at $30.
Yeah, you do not want to go anything higher than that.
And paid off by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Or before the end of the month.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that won't help build your credit, but that is something, because there's no reason to pay interest. Like, simply put, you should try and pay your card off completely.
And that's the main reason people like Dave Ramsey don't advise people to get credit cards, is because if you don't pay it off, you're going to pay interest.
Yeah, and credit card interest is higher than pretty much anything else. It's like 20% higher than 20% sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we're lucky. We get, what's the service members relief
Civil
act?
Relief Act.
Something like that. It's an automatic 6%. They can't charge any higher for military people. So we are very lucky, even though I never use that. Like, I always pay my card off in full. If I don't buy anything, if I can't afford it with my debit card, I just use my credit card to get credit.
Yep.
Talon, I have a
you should
question.
you should view your credit card as a debit card.
Right.
And yes, Randy.
All right. So I know we talked about this in a previous episode that recently I paid off my car. And just in light of talking about longevity of a loan. So I think it was a 4-year loan. I was 3 years into it, almost exactly, when I paid it off. So I basically paid off the final year. Is that a positive or a negative effect on credit score?
It will be overall a negative effect. So it's not going to make your score go down, but as soon as you pay off that loan, that credit age that I was talking about, that account's not going to go up any longer. It stops at 3 years, and that's going to be on your credit. Like, that's going to be on your credit account for pretty much, I believe it's like 5 years or something like that. So it's gonna stay on there, and that age isn't gonna go up anymore.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and
we're learning stuff today.
Yep. And so there's only 2 other principles that go into credit score, and that's total accounts and hard inquiries. So hard inquiries is just like when you apply for a new loan or new account for credit or something like that.
So it's like me. I was looking for a house and I got pre-approved for a loan, so that is a hard inquiry.
Yeah, they pull your credit directly from the bureaus and everything like that. That is a hard inquiry, and a lot of people try and avoid that, but just letting everyone know, that's a very low impact on your credit score. If you have a hard inquiry, I mean, as long as all the other principles in your credit score is healthy, that's only going to lower your points probably like 5%, like 5 points, and it's going to be for a very short amount of time. So do not be afraid to have hard inquiries on your account.
Yeah, I actually looked at my credit score when I got mint.com, or the Mint app, whatever you prefer. Shameless plug. We're not even being sponsored by them, but it's a great app. Yeah, so I looked at it, and I could see when I took out that home loan. Well, I didn't take it out. I didn't buy a house, but I got pre-approved for one. It only dropped a few points, and then like 3 months later, it was above where I started. So
Yeah,
it barely affects you.
it'll bounce right back. And this is, I guess, kind of a tip for people. Hard inquiries, depending on what the loan type is, you have a shopping period. So say like you just said mortgages. Don't be afraid to apply for multiple mortgages because you have a shopping period. So as long as those hard inquiries appear within, I think the lowest period is 2 weeks. So like, because each bureau has their own time frame and everything like that, but I believe the lowest is 2 weeks. So if you have a shopping period, so go around, get as many loan like pre-approval letters and see like what shop around, compare who you want, because it's not going to hurt your credit anymore. Same thing goes for car loans. You can shop around, and it's not like you're only going to get one hard inquiry hit on your credit score.
I had no idea about that.
And
Yeah.
the same thing goes for applying for credit cards, right?
Yes, but credit companies are kind of weird, and some credit card companies, if they see that you applied for a credit card like the same day, unless you did it like exactly at the same time, they might not approve you because they're like, because normally like most credit card companies wait, like they want to see that you've had a card for like a week, for example, before they approve you again. So you can do it, but it's kind of finicky with it because the credit card companies have like automatic systems when they pull your credit, and if they see something like that, they might not like I know Chase and American Express won't let you unless you apply with them exactly at the same time, like on a computer. Yeah, it's just kind of a way to get around it, but it's an automatic system. So
You would know that.
Yeah.
That's
you just have to trick the system.
All right.
So before
I
we
have
get to
the
the rest of our talking points, go ahead, Randy. What do you have?
Well, I would say my other question about credit, and I know this is something you guys do a lot that I would like to definitely start doing. Investing in stocks, does that have an impact on your credit score?
No,
that's your own
not
money,
at
dude.
all.
Yep.
Your income has absolutely nothing, like income, investments, none of that has anything to do with your credits. Even like savings account, none of that has anything to do with your credits. It's just how you manage your credit accounts, like your loans and your credit cards and everything like that. A credit score is nothing but
Debt, basically.
yeah. It's for a
Gotcha.
lender to see that you can manage your debt safely and that you are like a trustworthy person. That way they can loan money out to you and they know that you're gonna be safe.
The only
That's all it is. So they don't care when you do apply for like credit cards and loans. You will put like your income. You can put like how much stocks you have and everything like that. And that might make they might make the lender happier to approve you, but it won't affect your credit score at all if like any stocks or your
Gotcha.
accounts
So
or anything.
It kind of like it looks good on paper, but it doesn't really have much of an effect.
Right.
Yeah.
Or any effect, I should say. No
I mean,
effect.
think about it this way. So, like you said, credits is your debt. If you're investing, that's already your money. Like you've already paid taxes on that. Like,
Yeah.
that's your money already.
Yeah, outside of those 6 principles for credit score, nothing else matters. If something like income might matter on a loan, but it won't affect your credit score at all.
Cool. All right.
So, as a kid, we talked about how I got a cosign on a credit card. Another thing that I did was I had a credit card and I got a car loan. I think I bought my car for like $4,000 when I was 18. It was cheap. It was a piece of crap. But it's kind of like almost not cheating the system. I mean, it's beneficial because I had it. But I forget what my credit limit was, but I charged the rest of it on my credit card because my brother, long story short, got into a bad accident, got a big settlement. So he had like a bunch of money laying around. And I was like, oh, dude, like, would you pay off if I charge it to my credit card, could you pay that off and then I pay you back like interest free? He's like, absolutely. Yeah, I see nothing wrong with that. So that's what I did. And that jump started my credit, like as an 18-year-old. So if you have scenarios like that where someone can pay off your credit card for you, I mean, again, it's a very trusting system. Like it's almost contract worthy, but like if you can charge something to your credit card that's expensive, like $1,000 or two, and then you slowly pay back that person who paid it off in full for you, that helps your credit score so much. And then obviously don't use that credit card again because you're still paying off that debt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't act like you don't have debt, because you do. It's just not on the credit card itself.
Yeah, don't forget you have a credit limit. Like you said, you used it was like your maximum credit limit and you used it. Don't forget, like you said, don't use it again. You do not want to go past your credit limit.
Right. So that's something I did as a little personal story. Do you guys have? I know Randy. This is a good transition. Randy doesn't even have a credit card yet.
Nope.
And the rest of us are like, what the heck?
What the heck?
Granted, I don't have much. I mean, I have 2.
Yeah. But we can do a whole future episode on that and what cards are great and what cards offer which. Because, I mean, we're all very well versed in that town, especially.
I mean, instead of going like in depth though, because this is setting people up for like their lives and everything financially, if possible, treat a credit card like a debit card and use a credit card, because it has so many more benefits. You will almost never find a debit card that can give you rewards or like cash back or anything like that. For example, I mean, for a while I had like a 6% cash back card to grocery stores. That's huge. That's like every 2 weeks I would spend like $200 at a grocery store and I would get $12 back instantly with doing no work whatsoever.
It is money working for you, as long as you pay it off in full and you aren't paying that interest rate. Like, you're getting free money.
That's why you need to treat it like a debit card. Yep. And unlike debit cards, credit cards protect you, because a debit card it's a direct access to your bank account. That's all it is. Your money is being pulled directly from your bank account. So if someone gets your debit card, they have access to your bank account directly. A credit card, I mean, if someone gets your credit card, you can dispute that with the credit card company, and that's like an extra layer of protection for your own personal assets. Let alone, debit cards normally don't have any benefits to them, while credit cards, even free, like completely free credit cards, have stuff like return protection, or extended warranty. Like Chase cards and almost every single American Express card has extended warranty. That means whenever you buy like a new electronic at Best Buy or Amazon or whatever you might buy, you don't have to and they ask you for the extended warranty, you could just say no, because I know I think American Express, it can double the manufacturer warranty like up to 3 years. So you can say no to that extended warranty and save a lot of money just doing that alone.
Yeah. And so you won't dig much further in, but yeah, definitely, like, there are benefits to credit cards. So just get a free one, and like I said, just use it like a debit card and pay it off. You know, like what I do is I charge it, and I literally, as soon as it hits my statement, I pay it off. I don't wait.
I was actually just gonna ask that if there is any benefit to waiting or not.
No, there's no benefit.
Okay.
I think there's a common misconception that people like to always have a credit on their card. Or not a credit, but yeah, the thing. So I had a buddy.
A rolling number on their account.
Yeah, that's the word for it.
Balance.
Yeah, there it is. Because I had a buddy who would always have money on it, and he would just pay minimum payments every month. And I'm like, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, because he's paying interest.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, common misconception.
That's exactly
don't do
what
that.
you don't want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, the 6 principles to your credit, it has nothing to do with how much your cards are actually being charged on them. That won't affect your credit score at all. In fact, you want it to be lower, because I talked about the credit card usage, or just credit usage. You want that to be lower anyways.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if possible, you don't want any actual debt.
I remember one time I was hanging out with you, Talon. I forget where it went, but I bought like a coffee, and I used my debit card, and you gave me this snarky remark. You're like, debit card? What are you doing?
Every time I see someone use a debit card, I'm just like, why are you using that?
I don't know. You can't see me on a regular basis then.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine, because even if your card just earns 1% cash back, the way I view that is if you use that for like spending for the rest of your life, you're 1% richer. I mean, even people who make low incomes, like throughout their life, they probably made like $1 million. 1% of that's huge, and that's doing absolutely nothing except
step card,
using a card for your spending.
Yeah, that's a good point. Talon's big brain.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. So Randy, you should get a credit card.
Get on that. Yeah.
Discover it.
And you're not the only one. So hopefully, whoever's listening, if you don't have a credit card, look into it. But all right, so switching gears now, Jared, what was your topic? What did you want to talk about today?
So I wanted to talk about getting your emergency fund.
Boom.
Yeah, buddy.
So
Huge.
I have a little story to go with this.
Go for it.
So I didn't learn a whole lot about finances growing up, and my parents didn't really teach me a whole lot about it. You know, it's not really their fault. I'm the youngest of 7 siblings.
Good Lord.
So
I forgot.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I kind of had to learn a little bit on my own. And I think I'm grateful that I went into the military right out of high school, because that kind of helped me. That set me up. I was getting salary pay, so that definitely helped me. But there I was like 21 years old.
Where were you?
Actually, I think this was 2017, the beginning of 2017. So this wasn't that long ago. I was going through a hard time in life, and I still didn't know anything about my finances. So one night I went to the grocery store, and I got like $30 worth of groceries, and went to the register, and my card was declined. And I'm like, what? Why the heck? So I checked my bank account, and I literally couldn't pay for my groceries.
Damn.
Like, mind you, I didn't
Right.
have anything in savings. I didn't have any money in investments. I didn't have a credit card. I literally had like $20 net worth at that time. This was in 2017. So this was like
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Tourette's guy. Put the time
I remember
back.
I remember it was so embarrassing. I had to tell them like, hey, I can't pay for this. I got to leave my groceries here. So I walked in my car, and I remember I sat down in my car, and I'm like, I never want to feel this way again, ever. And like the next day I signed up. Well, thankfully, our base was offering this free Dave Ramsey course. So I went ahead and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I signed up for that. I started listening to some Dave Ramsey podcasts and stuff like that. And, I went to this course, and you can go to it. It's just daveramsey.com. And I think it's like Financial Peace University is what it's called.
I think that's what I think I know a few people doing that.
Yeah, and you can go to that, and it really helps you like program your behavior, like a healthy behavior around your finances. Because before that moment, I knew nothing about my finances. I didn't check my finances on a regular basis. I didn't know how much I had in my bank account. I didn't know my credit score. Like, I knew nothing. So this course, it like gives you this book, and you read through it. And if you take the class, which I recommend, because that way you'll have people to keep you accountable, and you're all in this together. You're all trying to work on your finances, work on your money. So it's kind of like you have a community built around that. So you get this book, and it has a bunch of useful information around like all the most general, like main, I guess, what
Categories.
Cut.
of finances.
Hello.
Yeah.
You talking like debt, like loans? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Like
Didn't you read the
the
book?
debt snowball.
Yeah,
and
get
then-
back on track here. Where did
Jared.exe has stopped working.
Okay, so the book that they give you is really cool because it covers all the different categories of finance, like within your life. So it covers debt and credit, and the debt snowball is a big one. It's a big Dave Ramsey thing. And then it also covers investments and savings accounts, emergency funds, stuff like that.
Nice.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure most people have heard of the debt snowball thing if you know anything about Dave Ramsey. So the first part is getting an emergency fund of like $1,000, because $1,000 would cover most emergency situations.
Right.
So,
And mentally, you can't focus on other things if you don't have that safety net.
oh yeah, and that's a big thing.
Mhm.
Like, you're always continuously like worried about your money because you don't have any extra. You're living paycheck to paycheck.
It's like reserve fuel on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice backup. You know it's there.
Yeah.
You hopefully never have to use it, but you know it's there.
So I guess like, you can say a bunch of different things, like look at your subscriptions and cancel ones you don't need and go out to eat less and stuff like that. You can say all of that. But I think the biggest thing that helped me save that first $1,000 was just looking at my account and looking at my spending, just becoming aware of it. Because until you're actually aware of it and looking at it on a regular basis, you don't know your spending habits. Your money is just, I don't know, it's just this thing that just flies out of your bank account.
It's just dissociation of your funds. Like you just literally, like you said, is you have no idea what's going on, so you can't make it better or anything like that.
Yeah, so ignorance is bliss.
So I got a question. 2017, you're probably what, E3, A1C?
Yeah, I think so.
So you weren't making much money.
No.
So how did you save up that $1,000? What did you have to sacrifice to just get that safety net first?
The biggest thing was going out less.
Okay. Like drinking or food or what? All of it?
Just all of it. Okay. So I learned how to cook.
Smart.
And seriously,
which he's good at. I've had his food.
That saves you so much money. I'm telling you, like think about it. Just think about it. If you go out and you say, oh, I didn't spend that much. I only spent $20 on this meal. Well, yeah, if you spend like twice that much, you can go home and prep your meals for at least 3 full days.
Yeah.
3 full days. And you pay like $40 for that.
Yeah.
As opposed to $20 for one meal.
Eating out, honestly, just like the people that do it annoy me because
it costs so much money.
It is a face. Like he had like the face of disgust just now.
Because food, it's a consumable item. You enjoy it for what, like probably like a few minutes, and it's gone. That's literally just burning money away.
Yeah.
And like I'd rather buy something that like I can at least have in my house, or like even a car. Like I'd rather have that because I can maintain it and keep it for a long period of time. And the way that I always think about eating out is, if I was making minimum wage, for example, like around like let's just say like $10, just because it's an easy number.
Is that what minimum wage is at now?
No.
Okay.
No.
But that's an easy number.
Well,
is $10.
some places.
Yeah, in some places. But you go out to eat, even like Chipotle. That's like what, $8 at Chipotle or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And
about it's like walk, it's like 12.
Yeah, exactly.
You
just like, if someone was making minimum wage, you just paid an hour of you working. And like some people, they go out to eat or they go drinking because they're like, oh, I work so hard, I need to treat myself, which I also hate. I hate the fact that like people are like, I need to treat myself.
Treat yourself.
No.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I just worked and I'm so tired, I'm just gonna go out to eat and eat this food. It's like the fact that you're eating that food and paying that much money, it completely negates the fact that you just worked all those hours and the reason why you're tired.
Yeah.
Because if you're making minimum wage, I mean, that's literally an hour of work right there, just in food that's gone in minutes. It infuriates me. Versus like even though it's not healthy, if you really wanted to, you could just eat like grilled chicken and rice. That's like probably $2 a day.
That's what Jared does.
Ramen noodles,
ramen noodles, granola, like just granola, and even like oatmeal is so cheap, but it fills you up so greatly. Like it's such a great thing.
Tin of the Quaker Minute Oats, dude, that's like $3, and that will last you like 2 weeks.
You guys are talking like a frat boy diet right now. Good lord.
Yeah.
It's better than eating processed foods that you're probably going to be spending more money on, or even when you go out to eat, that's like you don't know what they put in those and everything that you buy at restaurants.
That's true. That is
like
true.
you because you're definitely not going to be counting everything or asking the chef like, oh yeah, how much oil did you use to make this or whatever. You might as well eat
calories?
something just like
oil.
Yeah.
I'll use the grease off the floor. Shit.
I just spit in it.
Okay, so
that's where it gets the flavor.
If you're living paycheck to paycheck and you don't have $1,000 emergency fund, you need to wake up. Like that's what that whole situation with me in the grocery store was. I woke up. Like if you have a ton of debt and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you can't pay it off and you have late payments and all that stuff, you just need to like wake up, because we're talking about Quaker Oats and ramen noodles and stuff. Yeah, if you really want to start saving money, if you want to kickstart your savings account and you actually have extra money, then you need to live below your means for at least a couple weeks, a couple months.
Yeah.
It's possible. It is very possible. You just need to want it.
And it'll set you up for your life.
Yeah, it sets you up for success later. So like if I can, live below my means for 3 months in order to jumpstart my future life, by all means I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and it's you aren't going to live below your means forever.
Right.
Well, I mean, ideally you'll be very smart about it. Like Talon is very smart about it. So you don't have to have ramen noodles and Quaker Oats every day for the rest of your life or anything like that. But do it for a short period of time, And then once you get that $1,000 emergency fund, like it changes your behavior around money. You feel way more confident and it makes you feel really good. Yeah, it really does. And then you start investing, and the next step I think was the first step is like get $1,000 in your emergency fund. Don't touch it. Do not touch it. Don't touch it. And then the next step is pay off your debt. And this is the debt snowball. So I had my motorcycle and I had my car. So I used a debt snowball and paid those off real quick. And then I think the third step is like save 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So I did that. And then I got into investing. And I'm going to humble brag for a second. So in 2017, I started out with $20 in my bank account, like throughout all my accounts. That's the only money I had. And I just checked my Mint this morning, and my net worth is, I think, $38,000.
Hell yeah, brother.
That's what that wake-up call in the grocery store did for you.
Dude, it feels so good.
In 4 years.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could have been a lot more frugal and had a lot more money, but like that's comfortable. That's nice.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I became aware, and I spent some time paying off my debt and all that stuff. And really this year, I think I started out with 9,000 net worth.
Yeah.
And now I'm at 38,000.
Yeah.
And I like how you mentioned the debt snowball, because once you do have that emergency fund, because some people think that they need to start investing or come up with other ways of income, pay off your debt first, because especially like credit card or car loans and stuff like that, those interest rates are high. I mean, it's going to be very difficult for you to get any other return on investment doing anything else other than paying off that debt. And the debt snowball specifically from Dave Ramsey, he recommends that you pay off the debt that has like the smallest balance. So like say you have like $1,000 credit card balance, pay that off first and then move to the next one, because as soon as you pay that off, it makes you feel happy and you want to keep going on and doing it. Personally, so I think this is good for people that have a really hard time with money. Personally, I prefer paying off loans or anything that has higher interest rate first, because in the end you're going to make more money. But some people, it's a little bit difficult for them because like those loans with higher interest rate might have bigger balances or something like that. Yeah. So some people need to complete like those smaller loans first. Yeah. But that's one of my things against Dave Ramsey. But I do think that he's like his approach to money is probably best for a lot of people out there.
In general, for the general population, I would recommend it.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey Jared, silver lining, at least you weren't on a date.
What? That's true.
Oh.
Paying for those groceries.
Funny part about that. Like, another thing that happened. This happened, I think, a few months before that. I was actually at the vet and I couldn't pay the bill, and I had to ask my girlfriend at the time to pay the bill.
Wow.
Big to help me out.
And that wasn't the wake up?
Yeah, I paid her back a week later.
He was already woke, dog.
I mean, this was like a month prior.
So like prior to the grocery store?
That's what I mean.
My whole life was a train wreck those couple months.
Yeah, apparently.
Big oof.
But so you talked about, trying to limit going out more. And Joey's topic ties in perfectly. So Joey, what was your topic?
I mean, you guys kind of touched on it a lot already. Was money management. And it was not blowing money on stupid stuff, such as the going out to eat, which I'm kind of offended now, Talon. I mean, my Panda Express.
Panda.
Such a bully. But yeah, no. So
hey, we're not as long
as it fits into your budget, I won't be mad at you.
So that's the good thing that I kind of like to, humble brag about, that is that I actually do believe that for my age, I'm very good at managing my money. I know what I can afford and what not, because I know how much is coming in. I know how much I'm spending on all my bills and everything else that I need to pay for, credit cards, this, that, and the third. So I know when I can afford my Panda. And it's not like I'm, I'll still make my eggs and toast in the morning and everything like that. And then of course, I like to treat myself a little bit here and there. But
he treats himself every day to a little bit of Panda.
Just a little bit of every day. But no, there's multiple ways to manage your money. You have Excel spreadsheets are kind of like the very basic way to do it. Kind of like track your income, what all your expenses are. And, you get to minus your income or sorry, you get to
not
yeah,
subtract.
no,
Subtract.
you get to minus your expenses
hard.
from your income. There,
Subtract, but yeah.
Subtract. English is also hard.
We know what
English.
you mean.
Yeah.
thank you. So you get to subtract your expenses from your income, and then you get to see what else you have at the end of the month to play around with. You get to see how much money you could spend on games and everything like that. So now your goal here is to not blow all of that remaining money. Obviously what Jared was talking about was have the money saved up, your emergency fund, everything like that. So again, what he said earlier, ideally have the 3 to 6 months of living expenses, because for us, we're salary. It's easy for us to have money, a steady paycheck coming in, but there's so many others who will not have a steady income, or they don't have the job security. So therefore, maybe one day you walk into work and find out that you don't have a job anymore. That's where it's really useful to have that emergency fund. But, you don't want to spend your money on, games why would you spend, thousands of dollars on a new game every time one comes out? And then, like what me and Talon were talking about, how he has a whole bunch where he has like 20% of the game completed. And
Don't call me out.
hey, you called out my panda, so
Yeah, you're right.
that's,
Boom, roasted.
we're equal now. Yeah. So if you can save the money, might as well not just blow money on everything that you don't need, is what I'm getting at. So I guess a
Hell yeah,
question
they
for
You just need to prioritize.
yeah, exactly. So Jared, how did you? So you said you obviously cut back on your going out to eat and cooking at home. Is there any way that you tracked your expenses?
So at the time, I think I was just looking at my bank account, and in that Dave Ramsey book that I talked about, in the back there was a little spending category, so you can track your spending habits. So I was using that, but I think shortly after that I got the Mint app.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about it a lot.
I think now would be a time
We're
to
not
dive into
sponsored.
it a little bit.
But yeah, so
Yep.
the Mint app, from what I remember, it's super easy to set up. And I think the most lengthy process is just connecting all your accounts. But take a day and connect all your accounts, like your bank account, your savings account, different
Credit
investment
cards.
accounts, and then even your monthly expenses too, like your phone bill and Netflix and everything like that. You can connect that to your Mint account. And then once you do all that, it's all in one space. And it's just like such an easy, quick look at your finances, like all around. And then also your credit score too. It's really cool.
Let alone on Mint, you can set up budgets, so you can track exactly how much you're spending in each category, such as like food or transportation or education, whatever it might be. You can set up a budget super quick and super easy. But Joe, I also liked Excel spreadsheets that you mentioned, and you can find templates out there that you can literally just like download and just use for yourself. I think that's a great option for people. I did that for like the longest time.
Yeah, it's super easy to set up, and then of course there's a whole bunch of formulas that you can plug in with Excel. Your income, and you get to subtract.
Joe, you can
and
talk
add.
about that. You're doing that for us right now.
I am. I'm
the
tracking.
podcast.
I'm tracking all of our t-shirts.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, please. Now, just kidding.
Damn it, Randy.
Shameless plug.
He's so upfront with it.
Shirts for
Yeah.
sale. Shirts for sale.
I don't give
Get
a
your
fuck.
shirts here.
Every
Yeah,
time you
straight
buy
forward.
one, I get to plug it into Excel.
But that is a good point, because not only do you get the budgeting aspect, and you're financially better, but Excel is also a great skill to have, and you might have to YouTube how to use Excel. But guess what? Then you're more marketable in your job, so maybe then you could get more money. You could ask for that raise if you learn Excel. Just a little benefit
Heck
there.
yeah.
And then you get more money. You could buy it on use it on Panda. Words are hard.
Or our shirts.
Or our
Shameless plug.
shirts.
Yeah.
All right.
Randy,
But-
bro.
Real fast. So I think what Joe recommends, just like tracking your spending, I think is honestly one of the first things anyone should do. Any wealthy individual out there, I mean, I'm talking about like if you read articles, even like YouTubers like Graham Stephan or authors like Robert Kiyosaki, they all recommend that you track your spending. Any affluent individual knows where their money's coming in and where their money's going, and they know everything that's going on with it.
Right.
And that just changes your mindset immediately, just knowing like exactly where everything's going.
Yeah, because me and Talon were actually talking
feel
before
in control
this.
of your money.
Yeah, me and Talon were talking before this. We have, it doesn't matter how much that you're making, because even wealthy people can still live paycheck to paycheck if they don't manage it properly. You could be making 6 figures a year and then just have nothing left if you just spend it on useless stuff.
Just all gets subtracted.
It all
Yeah.
gets to
Yeah. I mean, you see it with a lot of like pro football players and stuff too.
Yeah.
They don't know
All the time
quite
with
how to
athletes.
manage their money, and then they get out of the NFL and they like 3 years later they're broke.
Yeah, so I've mentioned this book before, Millionaire Next Door. It literally is exactly examples of stuff like that. There's people that make only like $40,000 a year, but they're millionaires because they're great with their money. But there's people that make hundreds of thousands or even millions a year, and they're living paycheck to paycheck, and they're like, I don't think I could ever retire because I can't find a way to save money.
Exactly.
And they're the ones driving around like Lamborghinis and like in houses that they don't need, and they just cannot comprehend that, like, how they don't have enough money. Like, they're just like, I don't understand where all my money's going. They're literally surrounded by toys that they don't need.
Right.
Which
That's why a significant
Actually
amount of
brings me
people
to
who
my
win the
point.
lottery also end up going broke.
yes.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a big one. That's
All
a
right,
big
so I'd like to transition into Randy's topic now, which is
Yeah. So I know we talked about something different earlier on, but the more I kind of listened here, and the more I just kind of thought about my own, how I kind of was able to save the amount of money I have. And it's really, to me, it's so much about budgeting. And we were kind of just starting to touch on that just now. But learning how to make a budget, I think, was the biggest thing for me as far as, savings goes, especially considering that, like, I don't have really, I don't have credit cards and that kind of stuff, as we talked about earlier. But I've always been very aware of my money, even as a little kid. Actually, one time as a little kid, my dad asked me if he could borrow $5, and I let him borrow it. And then when I gave him a $5 bill, and when he gave it back to me, he gave me 5 singles, and I like freaked out because it wasn't the same $5. So I've definitely always been very aware of my money. But budgeting is a great way, and it's like we were just saying, so that you don't end up in a situation like Jared, or no offense, Jared, or situations like a lot of these pro athletes where you're just like, oh, I have all this money, spend, and then you go to the grocery store and you can't pay for your groceries because all of a sudden your money's gone. You're like, wow, how did that happen? And
real quick, I did see this. I saw a video on Instagram about Shaq, who, when he got a signing bonus of like $1 million, he went and bought out like his family all new cars. Like, he came home, he bought himself a new car, and then he came home and his father was like, well, where's mine? So he went back and bought it. And then he realized, like, I just blew $1 million in one day. And then he's like, I need a financial advisor. And then
he's also like a financial genius now.
yeah, because he woke up, just like you said, he had $1 million and it was gone in a day. And he's like, I can't do that anymore.
People can live for the rest of their lives on a family could live for the rest of their lives on $1 million, and spending it in a day, I'm sure that was a huge wake up call.
Yeah. So sorry to cut you off there, but go ahead.
No, it's cool. It definitely pertained to what I'm talking about. So, like, what I ended up doing, and especially like I will say, luckily, I've never been in a position where I had like money troubles, per se. There was a time when I was in college where I had like $500 in my account, and that was actually kind of my wake up, where I was like, whoa, holy shit, like, where did all my money go? Because I had way more than that in here, and now I only have $500. And it definitely plays into a lot of like what Joe and Jared said, and it's being conscious about your spending and not going out to eat all the time, which we were doing a lot in college, and not just spending on frivolous things. But it's also about, realizing the amount of money that's coming in. So what I ended up doing was sitting down and kind of like figuring out my typical paycheck, figuring out what I'm pulling in every month. And then you have to figure out the input and the output. So like, what am I taking in and what is going out? So you sit and you figure out, okay, I have my phone bill, I have my car payment, I have, depending on your situation, mortgage, child payments, like whatever else it might be. You figure out everything that's going out, and then you can kind of compare those two numbers. And then, like Joey said, what you have left over is what you can spend. So it's really about being conscious. So like that's really what helped me the most, was really just sitting down and looking at it and being aware of my finances.
And that seems to be the common trend here is like look at
awareness.
Look at your bank statements, look at your credit. Like what do you owe? Just awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness is so huge. It's so easy, especially like I used to only spend cash because the reason that I like spending cash is because you have to hand it over. Like you're seeing the amount of money that's leaving your hand.
It's not just a number on a screen.
It's not, well, even if it's a number on a screen, like you don't see the remaining value. Like if I have, $20,000 in the bank, say, and I go in and I swipe my card for $2,000, I don't see it get subtracted from that 20,000. Right. But if I have to hand you $2,000 in cash, it's like, whoa, that was a lot.
It's almost like your tactile sense of learning. Like you prefer that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's definitely like that's my biggest thing is budgeting and awareness.
Yeah. Cool.
And like just another short story I have about budgeting. It's about actually some friends of mine who were having trouble with their budget. And I basically did the same thing. Like I said, hey, give me the amount of money that you bring in every month. And then tell me what's your water bill, what's your electric bill, what do you pay for rent? And I was like, give me all that stuff, approximately what you spend on groceries, and I'll figure it out for you. And then, when all was said and done, I showed them their statements, and I was like, look here's your problem. Like you have this, this, and this that you're spending on, and your output is higher than your input. So that's why you can't keep up with anything.
There it is.
And one more big point I'd like to make, especially when it comes to budget, you need to have a section of your budget that's dedicated only to savings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where like that money isn't allocated for anything. It's literally allocated for you to save it. And now whether that goes into an emergency fund or even just into your regular savings account, that doesn't matter. Like to me, that doesn't matter as much as long as you're creating a savings. Like if you make, $1,500 a month, if all of that $1,500 is going to something, and like, I'm not even talking about if you have a section set aside for like, quote unquote pleasure, like where it's like going out to eat and that kind of stuff. Have that, but then you still also need a savings portion of that.
Yep. That's smart. And that almost leads into my topic. Well, it does perfectly, actually. So
sorry, Chris, real fast. Talking about like the savings and everything, I'm a huge advocate for what's called paying yourself first. Mm-hmm. Because as long as you pay yourself first, so what that basically means is that you have that savings or you have a financial goal, you focus on that first. A lot of people pay stuff like their bills first and everything like that. But I think you should focus on those financial goals, paying yourself first, paying into your savings account, whatever your goal might be. Because everything else, if you have bills to pay or something like that, it's almost like your survival instincts kick in. And it's just like, oh, crap, maybe I don't have enough money to pay those bills now. You're going to find ways to make money then. Right. Because you're like mentally that survival instinct kicks in. It's just like, I have to figure this out now. And it just kind of makes your brain thinking a little bit more. And you know at the end of the day, you met the financial goal that you wanted for like your savings or whatever it might be.
That's really smart.
That's just how I personally do it. So like whenever I get my paycheck, I put all my money into investments and savings first, and then I focus on everything else afterwards. Like whatever I have left over, I'm like, oh, credit card bills, whatever bills, I'll focus on that after. And if I don't have enough money, I'll find money.
Yeah.
So I kind of do that. So here is my topic was investing, and we kind of touched on it a little bit. But as a kid, again, I didn't have much money. I had my brother pay that off. I had my credit score going, so my credit score is pretty good already. And then, I was making minimum wage, and I was only working like 30 hours a week while going to college. So I wasn't making a lot of money.
No,
but. My mom is kind of a financial advisor, and she was like, hey, look, I can set you up for this mutual fund, which if y'all don't know what a mutual fund is, we can get into in a different episode and dive in depth. But it's basically like a bunch of different companies. It's not as risky as like investing in one company. So she's like, if you do $25 a month, I can get you in this mutual fund. Like that is the minimum. I was like, yeah, well, let's do it. Because that $25 in 10 years will make interest like we were talking about. Mm-hmm. So that money is working for me. I mean, granted, it's not a lot, but it's all I could have afforded at the time. So like you guys said, you make a budget. What do you spend? What is what's your pleasure, like what's your debt, like get all that shit figured out. And then what I would do, if you have the money, this is the tough part, is you set up that emergency fund first, obviously. And then Randy was saying you set up like a savings account. What I would do is I had a savings account and then I also invested. And then like Talon's point, it limits how much I can actually spend on stuff. And then that really makes me think like, well, do I really need it? I can't really afford it because everything I have, like my money's already working for me. And honestly, if you look at it and you have that $25 going into that mutual fund every month and you could still spend money on more stuff you really don't need, why not invest it? Mm-hmm. Because you obviously don't need it. Like all your bills are paid for, all your fun stuff is paid for, your savings account's good, your emergency fund's good, and you still have a little bit of extra money, just throw it in investments.
Yep.
I mean, and to Talon's point now, I mean, I've got a lot of money right now, so I'm financially the best I've ever been, which I would hope so at 27. But what the military does is we have a TSP, which is, just
thrift savings plan.
Yeah. Thank you. Couldn't think of it.
It's basically a 401k for people who's not in the military.
Yeah. So it's a 401k, and they match 5%. So obviously, I'm gonna put in. I think the max is 15% or something like that. I don't remember.
You
anyway,
can technically put in like 50% of your paycheck.
Yeah, that's true. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But I put in the point you were saying of invest first or like save first, and then you could spend. I do that already because they take that out of my paycheck. Well, I don't even see it. So I invest 15% of my paycheck, every single paycheck, and they match 5%. So I'm getting 20% of every paycheck is invested. And to me, if you're in the military, you need to take full advantage of that. If you're in the new retirement system, if not, still invest because it's still really good. But yeah, so 20% of my income is just going right into investments. So I don't even see that money. So I can't spend it because it's already gone. So it hits my bank account. Yeah, my paycheck.
And it's gone.
My paycheck's a little lower than like most people because they don't invest. However, in the long run, I'm gonna have so much more money than them.
It almost doesn't.
Yeah. So going back to Chris with investments and everything, I mean, you talk about early on your mom let you join the mutual fund and everything, and I think that's one of the most important things about investing is that you need to start early. It makes a huge difference. So you can just look this up. Anyone at home, you can look this up. Just go to a
72.
Huh?
Is the rule 72?
Yeah, that is true. But like, just so you can see it like physically, like on a screen or whatever,
okay.
you can just look at like compound interest calculators. So for example, if you're say 30 years old and you want to retire by like, I don't know, 60, that's pretty average for retirement funds and stuff like that. Let's just say like when you were 20 years old, you put in $10,000, or 30 years old, you put in $10,000. You let that sit there for 30 years till you're the age of 60. That $10,000 would be around $100,000.
Does it say at an average of what interest?
That's just like the average S&P 500 of about 8%.
Right.
So that's just average right there.
Mm-hmm.
But just so you know, if you started investing when you were 20 instead of when you were 30, by the age of 60, you would have $217,000. It over doubles.
Yep.
If you just put that $10,000 into an account just 10 years before, it over doubles.
Yep.
Let alone like, and if you hold it in there even longer, so let's say if you don't want to pull it out until you're 70 years old. So if it was in there for 50 years from the age of 20, that would be almost $500,000.
Man, compound interest is magical.
Yeah. So the earlier age you are, just honestly, like if you're 18, just whether you have 401k, TSP, or anything like that, if you want to retire by the normal age of about 60. Start invest, like even if it's just $25, like you said, that's going to be huge.
Yep.
Because if you have the mindset that, oh, I'm so far away from retirement, and this is personal here, I didn't even think about investing because I was like, I'm young now, I want to spend my money while I'm young, kind of thing. If you wait till you're older, it's going to take you so much more to catch up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to dump in like $50,000 off the bat just to catch up for like that $25 when you're younger.
Exactly. It's those little things, and like you said, you don't even have to see it. It could just. Right. Are you really gonna miss $25 or even $50 a month? Probably not. No. You're never even gonna notice it. But when it's come time to retire, you're gonna be ready. Versus majority of America that they have to live off Social Security or something like that because they never thought that they had to invest or have a retirement account of their own.
Yeah. So what I do at my age currently, humble brag, third in a row.
Do it, nerd.
I do So I upped. That's with my mom's company. So I upped it to $50 a month. You know, that's nothing, right? $50 a month. It's gone. TSP, I said 15%. They match 5, so that's 20%. That's a couple grand every month. And then I do $25 a day on my own. A day, $25 a day on my own investment, just in the market.
On a taxable brokerage account.
Yep, M1 app. So, yeah. So, and it's incredible to see that money grow every single day. I log in every day. I mean, granted, it will go back down. I'm not saying it's going to keep climbing every single day I look at it. It will go back down eventually, and it'll come back up. It's a roller coaster ride, that's, as is anything. But in the long run, that compounding interest is going to make me so much money. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be able to retire. I know what's your goal to retire at, like 35 or something, 40?
35.
35, dude. And you're on track.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show, start investing young, because the world is your oyster. Like, 35 years old is so young. I mean, granted, I don't ever want to hit 30, but 35 is young. But it's incredible. So I guess the point we're trying to make is just start investing young, like that $25 a day. Just do it. You're not going to miss it. That's a meal out at dinner, as Rumsey said.
Yeah. I think that's where the money management and everything comes in as well. I'm
sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Good. Yeah. So that's kind of where that money management comes in as well, is that $25. Some people are a little bit scared when they're young to, actually invest. They're like, I'm going to miss this $25, but you kind of have to overcome that. And like, what was it, Talon said that dinner? Was that Tal or Jared? Jared.
The one I just said, Jared.
Well, I don't listen to you. You're not important. I'm just kidding.
Pip, pip, tally ho.
But yeah, no, that $25, you can get it working for you.
Yeah, and it'll completely change your mindset. Even we talked about savings, even just applying for like a high yield savings account. Like me, I have like a 1.5% interest rate right now. Just seeing the interest every single month, that just like change. Like that's just it's like
awesome.
Wow. If I save this money, I can get more money. Or if you invest it, you can get more money. So that changes your mindset. Instead of spending, you're like, I want to invest more because I want to see this number grow and grow without me doing anything. Yeah, it's just passive income.
And this time last year, I was in a relationship, and all I wanted was a Jeep and a ring, right? That's all I wanted to do. And obviously I don't have to buy the ring anymore. But my
big oof.
Like the breakup, honestly, it was like a wake-up call. It was like, wow, look how much money I was spending on a relationship, right? And that is a good thing. I mean, have a happy relationship. You don't have to spend a lot of money. But when you're single, I don't go out nearly as much. I don't go out to fancy restaurants. I don't do any of that nearly as much. I still do, but on occasion. But I invest all that money now. And then over this past year, my like you said, over 4 years, your money's like, multiplied by a ton. I think mine's doubled or tripled just because I'm aware of what I'm doing and I'm investing it. And so the Jeep goals, all I wanted was a Jeep. I was ready to drop 50 grand on a Jeep. And people were like, well, why don't you just wait? Like, why don't you invest that money? And like, you can get it when you're a little bit older. I was like, well, I want it right now. Like, I'm young. Like, I want to live. I want this Jeep. I want to be able to go camping and just sleep in it. Like, that's all I want in life.
You're only young once.
Thank God I did not do that, because you know what? I'd be living paycheck to paycheck. And now I can literally turn around if I want to. I'm not going to, because like you said, it changed your mindset. I could take the money I have and just pay cash for it. Easy. But I'm not going to do that because my car's paid off. It's working great. I enjoy my car. I just wanted a new Jeep. Like it's a want versus a need. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy that I had that wake up call. I didn't really
That's an important point too. Want versus need.
Yes.
Yeah.
My mom taught me that.
Ooh.
When I ask her for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, it's like, do you want this or do you need it?
Mom, I need it.
I need it.
I swear I need it. like itching like you're doing drugs. I need it.
I need Pikachu.
But yeah,
Chris.
Yeah.
So another point like that I would like to make as far as investment goes, you talked about more like the stock kind of side of investment or putting into funds or something like that. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to talk about the more physical side of investment.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Yep. Talon knows exactly where this is going. So, shameless plug again.
Oh my God.
My woodworking stuff. What I decided, so obviously with all the COVID stuff going on, we are getting stimulus checks again.
Yep.
And when I found that out, now keeping in mind here, like, I understand why a lot of people need those. I personally, as someone who's been working 40 hours a week from the beginning of the pandemic all the way through, like, technically speaking, I really don't need that. So what I decided I'm going to do with that money is I'm going to invest it right back into my wood shop. So I'm actually going to use that money to buy another machine that will make me money.
Yeah, that's
ultimately in the long run.
And reinvest into
so
a
investment.
business.
Yeah, you can reinvest into a business, or like, even if it's just like something that can, make you money in some way, shape, or form. Like investment like for wow, I totally cut that out.
Randy.exe.
Investing that, you could technically call investing that, like, if you got that stimulus check and you're in a situation like me where you don't need it, pay off a part of a credit card, pay off part of your car, something like that. That's an investment as well.
Yep. Or, I mean, we talked about investments, but like just, I mean, in terms of monetary value and everything, but one of the most important things is investing in yourself. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you save or not even if you're just living paycheck to paycheck, but like maybe you're just working like a low end job and you're saving everything you can, but you're just not seeing any good results in your financial life. Mm-hmm. I mean, invest in yourself. Go, like, if you need to, go get an education, go spend some extra time learning a new skill or something like that. If it means saving a little less money or investing less in the stock market, but you're going to courses for, I don't know, become like a real estate agent, to become like an electrician or something like that, do it. Because in the end, that probably is giving you a better return on investment than if you are just investing in the stock market or anything like that. Invest in yourself. Remember that you are your best investment.
That's nice. That's deep. And we're not advocating going to get $100,000 in student loan debt.
No, definitely not. Like I said, I didn't even say anything about college. Yeah. It is right for some people, but you have to see it as an investment. And if you just go to college or do anything just because someone tells you to, or you think it's right, you have to know that if you're getting that education, you need to be able to see the return on investment. You need to see that you're going to get something, and it's going to pay you back and multiply however much money it spent you to get that education. And
that's a good point, because we talked about how me and Joey both did our associate's degrees for free because we got a scholarship. When that scholarship ran out, I was like, I don't know what I want to major in, so I'm not going to continue going to school. And that's exactly the thought process. I didn't realize that was at the time, but that's it. Like, I'm not going to waste money on something I don't know what I can do. Like, I'm not going to, it doesn't benefit me at all. It's not an investment. That's a terrible investment.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I didn't do that.
And it needs to be a calculated investment. School needs to be a calculated investment that you can say that I'm going to put in $20,000, but after I'm done, my pay is going to increase $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I know
you need to have that calculation in your head.
Yeah, I know so many people who have like $30,000 plus in debt for student loans and have absolutely no idea what they want to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yup.
Or they work in a career that has nothing to do with their degree, and they didn't need that degree to get in that career to begin with.
Exactly.
But I mean, we could save all this for like a future episode, and I think another good future episode would be having money work for you, and we could talk about specifically what we invest in and what the interest we make in dividends and all that stuff. But
I was actually going to say that too.
Yeah, so that'll be a good future episode. So I think today we're going to wrap it up there. We talked about, we each had a separate talking point, so we hope we covered some stuff you guys wanted to hear, and we can go.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, we can go multiple different avenues on finances, and we will dive into it because obviously we're very passionate about it. So hopefully you guys learned something. Go get yourself a free credit card, start building your credit, Randy, and have a good one.
All right, guys, this has been Lessons Learned. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and go follow our other social media pages linked in the description. From all of us here at Lessons Learned, have a good day and see ya!